Alright, here we are with Spike on the boat, and now we're anchored and I'm actually preparing my dive, putting my stages in the water. As you can see, relatively close to shore. I could not anchor on that pinnacle. I was tried a couple of times. There was a pretty bad current and I decided I'll anchor closer to shore and approach the wreck by swimming down the slope, which is a bit of a way, but it seemed to be the more safer approach. And gearing up now and getting ready for the dive. So as you can see, I have this stupid side mount helmet on my gear, which I would normally never use, but as I wanted to show you what I'm doing, I needed to find a spot where I could mount the camera, not having it in my hands and being in the way. So now I'm getting my stages. Actually, there's quite a bit of current. As you can see, I'm constantly drifting away. Also, I'm swimming against it. Not too bad. It's actually getting worse down the slope. So on the wreck, it's actually pretty nasty, but still manageable. Yeah. So now the second stage, and then I'm already on my way. So I have a hypoxic mix, so I'll actually descend pretty fast. So I'll take the first breath at around 3 meters. You saw probably that I was not breathing on the surface from my back tanks. Yeah, Spike's wondering what I'm doing. So I'm just checking quickly on my anchor, and then actually going down that slope. You'll see in a minute that I'm actually... So I was editing out quite a bit. It took me, I think, 28 minutes to get down that slope. So obviously I'm sparing you watching me swimming down that slope. So I edited out quite a bit and actually put some of it in fast forward, because it would be extremely boring to follow my way down there. So here the visibility is still relatively good. Actually, the visibility on the video looks better than it was, which is probably due to the wide angle of the camera. So yeah, now we will fast forward, going down that slope, so you can actually see in the fast forward better than in the normal speed that I'm scanning left, right, kind of scanning what's ahead of me. So I'm probably in the 20 meter range right now, approaching 20 meters. And yeah, as I said, I actually edited out quite some of the stuff. So yeah, so this is now more in the 40 meter range, 35, 40 meters. Still just basically going down there, scanning left and right, looking for a wreck actually. Yeah, so I'm approaching the deeper parts here. That's now in the maybe 40, 45 meter range. Still scanning. So now I'm in the 60, 65 meter range, and now I'm actually getting a bit slower, really looking for the wreck, because that's where it should actually be. So you can see that because the camera is pointing downward, but there I see like a shadow in front of me, and the viz in the video really looks better than it really was. And yeah, I was checking my gauges here and there. I'm actually on the wreck. Yeah, that's actually the wreck. First parts of it, and you can see that the vis is really basically nothing. I'm just feeling around there, and this is basically the underside of the wreck. The wreck sits on its side, and so I'm basically on the keel side of it, making my way along there, trying to find a part where I can penetrate it, basically, or at least a penetration point. I have my stages with me there, so as you'll see in a minute, penetration was not a real option there. So it's a relatively small vessel. There you could see actually the sand on the right side. So I'm swimming along there, and there's actually I made my way around, and I realized that it's probably not a smart idea to penetrate that small vessel with the stages and everything on me. So I found it, which is good, and I realized I need to go back. It took me a long time to find it, so there was also not much gas left to make a proper penetration, and so I just scan a little bit, try to get a better idea. You see that there's all small holes, so yeah, here I'm actually turning around and start to make my way up again. Yeah, they're already on the bottom, and basically feeling my way up into better visibility, going up that slope. So yeah, now you can actually, when I'm turning my head, you can actually see that it's a slope, that it's going up there. And so that's still in the 55 to 60 meter range. Yeah, slowly going further up. The camera is doing something weird with the light. Sometimes it's like switching into different modes. I'm not sure what that is. Probably the sensitivity of the light sensor or something like that. Yeah, so slowly making my way up. Here I'm actually almost on the boat. I'm on oxygen, decompressing, and you can see the water surface behind me. So it's in the 6 meter range. Yeah, looking up for the boat. So my 50 is empty on my hip D-ring, and yeah, that's the end of the dive. Alright, back from the first dive. So first of all, the position wasn't too great because I couldn't set a shot line on top of this weird pinnacle. So as you can see, we're pretty close on shore, and it was a pretty long swim down that slope, and the visibility is terrible. Nevertheless, I found it. It's there. Visibility is zero. I was more or less feeling for it, but it's there. I went around it a couple of times, tried to get some sort of idea and of the layout, so to speak. I found a penetration point, but with the doubles and the stages and zero visibility, I decided I need to change the game plan a little bit and come back for a second one to finally penetrate it. But hey, success. We're here, we're anchored, I found it, and yeah, back to the drawing board. I think I'll, on the second attempt, I'll anchor here again, but I'll take a reel and lay a line to the wreck so I can leave my stages on the down line, which is not state of the art, and yeah, but I mean I cannot put the stages into that mess, and then I definitely need a spool or something to penetrate the wreck finally. But when I leave the wreck again, I need a line to be able to get back to my anchor line, because now I actually made a descent somewhere along the slope, and then basically on 8 meters came back, because I know it has to be on my right side. So left shoulder to shore, and then going back till I hit the anchor, which is fine if you have your stages, but if you haven't your stages, it's probably a bit smarter to place them somewhere further down, and therefore I'll go with the reel next time. Alright, I have a long way home, so I better get going. Yeah, second dive. As you can see, I attached the reel to the wreck, so left my stages with my decompression gases on that slope, and laid line to the wreck so I can find them on my way up. And what I'm doing here now is I'm attaching a spool to the reel that I then use for penetration. So the vessel's relatively small, and therefore the rooms and the hallways are really small, so I have to squeeze through relatively tight spaces, and probably the visibility in the wreck as soon as I start to dig a little bit in the mud is going to zero, so I want that line to help me to find my way back out. So yeah, I actually got head first. Remember, the camera is on my helmet, so head first in that first room. And what you see here is the side, basically. The actual bottom is on the left side, and I could see that there was like shelves and a cupboard there. So you see my hand fanning through the mud there, looking for small stuff. Actually found quite a few things that I'll show you later on. Yeah, so picking up random pieces, a coin and some other stuff. And scanning the room, trying to find things that give me more information about the wreck. And there you can see my line, and then actually I ran into that skull, and if you look closely you'll actually see that it has a hole in the forehead, which to me looks pretty much like a bullet hole. It's a round hole. So yeah, actually that means that the room is a grave, so I immediately stopped everything, reorganized my line, and started to leave. And so that's the circling motion of the lights, actually me winding up line, and then making my way out of this room. Just carefully scanning where to go, so there's no entanglement hazards, and then getting out there. So you see outside the vis is a little bit better than inside, and that was at 71 meters, so I'm going up now, and on my way down I saw a hallway there that was going inside the ship with a couple of doors, and that's where I'm going now. And I'm actually attaching the spool on the entrance of that hallway, which you see now, and then I take my backup light and switch it on and attach it on that spool, so I have that light sitting there, and so when I'm in that hallway I can see that light leading me to the exit, because in these narrow rooms doing all the penetration with the line can be very time consuming and can actually create more of a hazard than going without. But so that line from my reel that's just somewhere on the wreck, basically in this bad visibility, having a line at least to the entrance point is pretty important. Yeah, there I'm clipping my backup light in there, which was switched on, so yeah, you see the light there. And there you see the hallway with the doors going off. Remember, what you see as the bottom now is basically doors in the wall. So So here I'm just scanning underneath if there's anything interesting, and then I'm going in there. So that's the first door that's actually filled with mud, whatever the room that was. And there's the next one, and there I'm actually going down head first. So on the left side is like what was a bottom hatch. So I'm going in head first. I have to twist myself around and bend myself so I can go through this bottom hatch head first. And now I'm in this room. So the light's shining basically on the former bottom of the boat, and everything's shifted to the right and it's now sitting on the side. So there's a lot of beams and stuff that broke down, so I have to orient myself for a moment, and then I make my room through this bulkhead and actually entering the engine room and start scanning around there. There's pretty much of a mess there. Yeah, parts of the engine, a lot of sediment in there. There's broken down shelves there on the left side. So yeah, now I'm turning around. I was on my entranceway. There was this is where I was coming from. That's the room where I entered. And now I'm turning and basically going left, which means I'm going up in the structure of the wreck. Yeah, there was this shelf that I just mentioned, so I saw something there, which I picked up. Fanning a little bit more, I found another coin actually, which I'll show you later. And now, yeah, this is again the entrance from that first room where I entered the wreck. There you saw the stair, and now I'm actually going up inside the engine room. Yeah, there's again a ladder on the left side. And this is basically going towards the ceiling of that room. There's this big beam that broke down. So I have to be a bit careful that nothing starts to fall. And yeah, there was nothing there, so that's a little bit edited. So now I'm actually squeezing myself under this beam again, and you probably saw the skull there. I obviously did not realize it there. It was just the camera picking it up. And now I'm turning around, and now I spotted it. So that's the second one that I found there in this other room. And yeah, same thing. Obviously, it's a gravesite. So I stopped all activity, had a look at it. I could have gone further, which I will see in a second. Yeah, I could have gone there in another room, but I did not want to squeeze myself over there and probably disturb the gravesite. So I try to turn around there, which is super narrow. That's why I'm relatively close now. Now slowly turning around, because I need to turn around and then twist myself up into that hatch. This is where I was coming down at first, and now I'm going back in there, and now I have to twist 90 degrees and bend myself out so I can actually go through that hatch that's now on my right side. And here I'm back in this hallway. And on the right side you could actually saw my light in the distance. I'm swimming towards this light now. And there you can, not sure if you see that, but yeah, that was my line and my backup light. So also this may seem relatively short. I was a total of 14 minutes inside the wreck. Keep in mind, I had to swim down that slope, and then from the remaining gas I have when I hit the wreck, I have 1/3 that I can use actually on exploring the wreck. And then the other 2/3 I need outside, and I still need enough gas to make my way up to my decompression tank. So it's a very small amount of gas that I can actually use for the exploration. So 14 minutes was not bad. And as you'll see later in this video, it was enough to get my proofs. So here I'm winding back, as you can again see on the circular motion of the light, I'm winding back the spool towards the reel, and yeah, taking the reel off, the spool off the reel, put it away, and then I will detach that reel and start leaving the wreck, going towards my decompression tanks. Which is again quite a bit of a swim, so total dive time was like 137 minutes I think in the water, which yeah, for 14 minutes in the wreck is relatively long, but yeah, that's how it is. No complaints, everything went well, and obviously the lines also take time, setting them up, making sure everything's okay. And you would be faster without, but I mean, if the shit hits the fan in the wreck and you have a zero visibility, you want that line to be able to go back to the exit. So it's always a good precaution to do this in a proper way. Also, it takes some time. So here the reel's loose now, and I start swimming back. There I have the reel in my hands now, and you can see that I'm start reeling in, following the line. There's the sand again, so I'm on the keel side of the wreck again, following to the spot where I attached it previously, and then going off. Second dive. As you saw, the plan worked. I penetrated it, and I'm not sure if it's visible on the video, but there were two skulls in the ship. In that first room there was one, in my opinion, with a bullet hole. I need to check the video myself. And in the second one there was another one. So obviously I want to respect that. It's a grave site, so I backed off. And in the other corners of these rooms I just fanned a little bit in the sand, and I found a couple of things, and from what I saw underwater I got an idea, and I want to share this with you. My left pocket is what I found in the first room with that skull with the bullet hole. At least I think so. Actually I think Spike doesn't like the boat too much. So things actually seem to be pretty well preserved for being in the salt water for so long, but they were in the mud, so probably that helped a little bit. So that looks to me like it's part of handcuffs. Doesn't say anything on it. That's the interesting one. With the oaks here, I need to check a book on the internet, but I'm 99% sure that this is German Wehrmacht, and probably was on a cap or something. I need to check it, but I'm relatively sure. And yeah, all you guys that are into coins, I know that's not the right way to do it, but I just wanted to read what's on it. It's not about the value of it. It says 50. I can't read the rest here. But I'm pretty sure, I need to check that with a magnifying glass. It says Böhmen and Mehringen, which means it's a German coin. So that would perfectly fit this one. So in the second room, I found a couple of coins. That's it. And these are definitely British. Me too. Yeah, that's a penny from 1936. It's half a penny, 1944. Another half penny, 1938. 3 pence, 1937. And that's two more, 1 penny, 1935 and 1921. I would say it kind of proves the story right. British vessel. Let's have a look in the book, but I'm pretty confident that it is the wreck I'm looking for, and that this is proves the story to be correct. All right, so here we have my findings. So that's parts of handcuffs, at least in my opinion, and the coins. Basically, as I took them out of my pockets, so really just washed off a little bit. So that's everything. And now after a little bit of cleaning, so that's definitely from a German uniform from Wehrmacht. You see the oaks and everything. Brushed off a little bit better, and there you see the coins, and it says Böhmen-Mehringen 1942. If you pause the video, you can actually see that. So that's definitely a German coin, and this is the British coins. That's 1 cent, and you can actually see 1935 there. So it fits the story perfectly. That's on the left corner. You see now 44. That's the youngest one, and that still fits. So I'm very, very positive that I found the wreck that I was looking for. So this it's all pretty good indications. So yeah, just wanted to show you in detail the coins after I cleaned them off a little bit. Yeah, so it's about a week later. I'm back in Munich, and I think this was a success. Obviously, it would have been nice to spend more time in the wreck and see if I can find more information. But first of all, it's limited time. It's the boat trip to the site was about 2 hours every single time. So it's late in the year. Weather is not always perfect. And yeah, as we saw, it's a grave, obviously. So you don't want to disturb the gravesite, so I was very careful. And I think if you look at the story and if you look what we found, it fits like a glove, right? I mean, the first skull in that room, before I saw the skull, what I found was these handcuff parts and that German coin. So obviously, don't get me wrong, obviously there's probably 1,000 different explanations for all of this, from the skull, the wreck, the things I found. You can probably make this fit in 100 different stories, but considering the fact that I've been looking for a wreck with British sailors that kidnapped, so to speak, a German soldier, and then the ship was sunk by the Germans. We have this skull with the bullet hole. At least I think it's one. It looks very much like, I just talked to somebody here that has a bit of background in forensics, and he also said it looks pretty much like a bullet hole. The handcuff parts, the German coin. For me, I mean, it gives like a round picture, so to speak. And then in this other room, the British coins. So we have German coins, we have British coins, we have this part of the German uniform. Yeah, for me, it's satisfying enough. It would have been interesting if there's more around this German soldier. If the British were interested in information that the guy just knew if he had anything with him, I don't know, papers, documents, but that would have meant to really disturb the site, which I'm not gonna do, and so forth. For me, that chapter's closed. I think it was a full success. It was tons of fun. Also, the diving was pretty harsh, actually. And so, yeah, I just want to thank everybody that supported this case. It was a bit rough, especially with all the drama, with this person that tried to make it more difficult. So going there 3 times, basically, for the final attempt, which did not make it easier. So yeah, thank you very much for all your support. As I said, this little movie is exclusive for you, for those who really supported it. I have something else coming up. It's actually quite a few pending projects that I'll actually work through now. So I'll let you know. And yeah, stay safe, everybody. If you have questions, if you want to chat about this, if there's anything I can do for you, please feel free to contact me. I'm super happy to answer you. And yeah, happy Christmas already. Stay safe, and maybe we see each other somewhere in the water. Bye-bye.